Hi, welcome to Arthur's Roundtable. Let's go meet our guest speakers. Willard Freeman, Josephine Johnson. First, we're going to go talk to Willard. What is your take on Carter's national security policies? Does the Iran hostage crisis demonstrate Carter's weaknesses as a president?
The Carter administration has been extremely weak in the area of national defense. This is demonstrated by the still unresolved Iranian hostage crisis, where 53 Americans are still being held hostage in Iran. The Carter administration tried to rescue these hostages, but their attempt failed and led to the death of some Americans. The Soviets right now are advancing in military strength as demonstrated by their started invasion of Iran, and they're also investing a lot of money in technology, and their technology is starting to outpace us militarily. We need to restore America's military so it can once again become the strongest in the world by raising funding back to earlier levels. We must complete and ultimately prevail against the Soviets in the Cold War also.
Next question will go to Josephine. What are some Carter's national security achievements? How have his actions as president benefited America?
So, despite some of the views of the Republicans, Carter actually did a lot for the national security, especially with Operation Eagle Claw when it came to the Iran hostage situation. And although it was a failure, it's not due to Carter's administration, it's due to the fact that there was natural disaster, there was a sandstorm that impeded that process. And besides that, he's also done a lot of other things. He supported SALT, which has limited the manufacture of the nuclear weapons, and he's also worked with the Israel and Egypt peace treaty and has helped with Israeli and Arab relations during his administration as president.
Supporters of the candidates.
Hello, ma'am. Who are you voting for this election cycle?
Well, I'm voting for Carter in this election cycle. I'm really impressed by what he's doing. I like the fact that he created the Department of Energy and the Department of Education. And I think we really need to have centralized control of those issues in our society in order to make a difference for children and in order to control energy for all Americans.
What do you think of all the problems that he's had during his presidency?
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, Carter has had a lot of problems during his presidency, and a lot of those problems I don't think he really had control over. Take, for example, the dust storm when he was trying to rescue the Iranian hostages, or even the impact that the Iranian Revolution had on oil prices and how it negatively impacted the American economy. Carter didn't really have control of that, but I'm really hopeful that in his second term, he'll make much better decisions and have an opportunity to redeem himself and strengthen the American public.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, the 1980s election is coming up between Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter. Who would you vote for?
I would vote for Ronald Reagan.
Why is Ronald Reagan your choice?
I select Ronald Reagan over Jimmy Carter, President Carter, for two reasons. Number one is the current state of foreign policy and domestic economic policy. For the foreign policy, mainly my impression is that President Carter had quite an ineffective foreign policy relative to the Iran hostage situation. It has been dragged on for too long with no resolution in sight. The second reason is internal economic policies. Currently, the interest rate is extremely high. It's double digit. A lot of people are paying 15% interest on commercial loan and mortgage loans. It is not sustainable. And unemployment rate is also rather high. So for this reason, foreign policy, internal economic policies, I would like to vote for Ronald Reagan.
Thank you for your intake.
Thank you.
What are Reagan economic plans?
Americans have been plagued with a weak and sluggish economy under Carter. This includes constant high inflation and very, very high unemployment rates. To combat this, Reagan will balance the budget within 3 years and also provide a 30% tax cut for Americans. Lowering taxes will increase spending throughout the economy and lead to economically prosperous times for all Americans.
What has Carter done for our economy?
It's important to note the events preceding Carter's presidency, such as the severe economic recession from 1973 to 75. Other problems throughout Carter's presidency, such as the 1979 energy crisis and the sudden doubling of crude oil by OPEC that led to the shortage of gas in 1979, occurred. These events impeded beneficial economic progress in the United States. And in order to assist the struggling economy, Carter has asked Congress to impose price controls on energy, medicine, consumer prices, but was unable to secure this passage of the measure. He has also turned to deregulation in order to encourage oil production and conservation throughout his presidential term.
We interrupt this program for a special announcement.
I ran away in floods of shame. I'll never tell how close I came as I crossed the Holland Road.
Under Jimmy Carter, inflation and unemployment has risen each year of his tenure. Carter's clear lack of leadership traits is evident in his handling of the Iranian hostage crisis. Vote for a strong leader with a plan. Vote Ronald Reagan for president.
Now back to our show. What pressing issue is needed to be brought up?
Well, one of the most pressing issues facing our nation today is that the government has become way too big. The economy has been bogged down by the overregulation of U.S. industries, and this has limited economic growth in our country. Reagan will promote a reduction in these unnecessary regulations, and this will lead to economic growth and a reduced unemployment rate. Also, our welfare system has become one that fosters dependency instead of helping those that are in poverty get out of poverty, and we need to change it. This is why we also need welfare reform.
The most pressing issues, without a doubt, would be the economy and foreign affairs. It's essential to understand events that have negatively impacted the American economy that were out of Carter's control. He is working on and will continue to assist the economy. With foreign affairs, Carter has demonstrated beneficial diplomatic interactions such as the Israel-Egypt peace treaty and is determined on saving the hostages and making the U.S. a strong and progressive entity.
We interrupt this program for an important message.
Jimmy Carter is the right man for the job. We must give him some more time. He has led the way for America's energy reform. Let's not forget his foreign affairs programs, such as the Strategic Arms Limitations Treaty and the Camp David Accords. Let's make America a better place and re-elect Carter and Mondale for president.
Back to our program. So, any final remarks?
They're choosing to decide between Carter or Reagan. They need to keep in mind the question that Reagan asked at one of the Carter-Reagan debates. And that question is, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? If you can answer affirmatively, vote for Carter. But if not, vote for Reagan. As Reagan said, the United States is a shining city on a hill, whose best days are still ahead of it. But these best days will only come if Reagan is elected and we reverse the direction that Carter has led America in.
Keep in mind that Carter has supported America, and he has tried his best throughout all of the difficulties of his presidency to be there to support everything that has happened. Currently, he's a work in progress, and if you believe in America and if you believe in Carter, then he is the right choice.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you, Willard Freeman and Josephine Johnson. Till next time.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way.